O'Keen, and we are two brown chicks changing the face of therapy on both sides of the couch. It's been a minute since we said that.
I feel like it's been so long.
It's so fun though. I was waiting for it.
Thank you. I feel like it's been so long.
I know.
But we're back. We're back on the couch because we've been like in chairs at apartments,
Yeah.
doing videos.
Different couches.
Different
Yes.
types of couches.
We had several of out-of-town interviews.
Yes.
So
we're back in our comfort zone.
yeah.
With Jenai.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
H-Town is back.
Yes. Hello. One of our bigger supporters. You're always coming to our
You
stuff.
have,
Really
from the
appreciate it.
beginning.
Oh my
Good
goodness.
job.
It was so exciting to just see the idea of Melanin and mental health come.
Yeah.
Not being from Houston, not being a Houstonian, it was hard to connect with other therapists that looked like me. So when Melanin and mental health came along, I was like,
I didn't realize that you were new to the city.
So I can't claim new
Okay.
anymore. I said that the other day, well, probably like a few months ago, and they were like, you've been here for 5 years. It's not new. And I was like, oh, okay. Good point.
Yeah.
Newish.
But yeah, newish.
Newish.
But
Yeah.
5 years
5
here.
years is
5 years here in Houston.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
just sound like 25 though, so you're still kind of
Okay,
new.
thanks.
You're still
Thanks.
kind of new. You're still kind of new.
Yeah, for sure.
All the way from Indiana. So.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Midwest.
Yeah,
I grew up
Midwest
in
girl.
Illinois, so.
God,
Yeah.
Chicago or no?
About an hour outside Chicago.
Okay, I did grad work in Chicago.
Sweet.
Yes, so.
We're having a whole
whole moment.
Sorry.
That's fine. So we want to start with, of course, talking about just your practice. How'd you get started in your practice?
Well, first, what is your practice?
Well, yes.
So let's fully introduce you.
Okay. That's okay. So it's totally all right.
Yes.
And even that question is convoluted in itself. So, Jenai Tidwell, licensed professional counselor supervisor, been in private practice here in Houston for 4 years.
Okay.
Initially started with Fowler and Tidwell Counseling, and so my former partner and myself founded that, and we were chugging along, and everything was going great. And it's a private practice, heavily insurance-based, Spring Branch area. I could say it's kind of the normal private practice, right? Where we've got 6 clinicians now, 2 interns, and 1 LPC intern, or 2 practicum students, sorry, and 1 LPC intern. And then about 2.5 years ago, I really found what I would finally say was my niche in mental health. I love doing mood disorders and working with those clients, but the combination of what we have termed now as holistic mental health, right, became really my focus, and that is so much how nutrition and movement combined into mental health, and how when we talk about those things holistically, we can get a much more holistic way of healing, right, in regards to our mental health and our mood. So with that, I founded with my partner there, shout out to Nicole Wheatley. Hey Nicole, what's up Nicole? We founded Hartwell Business Solutions, but underneath that there's the Hartwell Clinic. And the Hartwell Clinic is our practice where we truly focus and do only holistic mental health practice there.
Love it.
So you said it was kind of like introduction, but I was like, it's complicated too.
No.
Like 2 practices, and everybody's like, why 2? But that's how it happened.
Because I can.
Girl, insert Jesus. Like, that is the only reason.
I love it. I love it. It's fantastic.
Yes.
So when someone is going into like, or looking for a holistic practitioner, like what should they expect when they're coming to see you as a therapist or a nutritionist or something?
Absolutely. So with the Hartwell Clinic, when we do our services for clients, it is our normal psychotherapy, right? So we're utilizing theory-based CBT, MI, DBT, whatever is the appropriate theory for that particular issue that they are hoping to address. But we're also then talking about nutrition, we're talking about sleep, we're talking about movement, and how those things have to be incorporated if we're going to get the best results from that CBT or from that DBT, right? That we're doing inside of the therapy room. So it's not going to look crazy different, but it is going to have a lot more discussion about diet, exercise, nutrition, supplements. There's even a part of our intake process where we do kind of like a food mood kind of deal. We want you to
Ooh.
write down what you ate for about 3 days, and we go through that and kind of look at how that relates to where your mood has fluxed,
Okay.
and give that education while we're also changing behavior patterns,
Right.
changing cognitions, all
You
of that
better
fun
do it
stuff.
all.
You have to.
You have to. I mean, we talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
There's many paths to healing, and I love that you are able to incorporate more of it into the psychotherapy,
Yeah.
because I think our field in particular is often so rich in.
That's a good word.
That's a fair word.
Dare I say?
Fair
You
word.
know, and we're trained like that. It's like, this is what you do, and this is how you stick to it, and you don't move out, you know, all
Yeah.
of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that there's more and more a pull for people needing more
Yeah.
and wanting more, and you can go to different practitioners, of
Absolutely.
course, but the convenience of also incorporating that into your psychotherapy.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah. It became, well, some people said, oh, it's a one-stop shop. And I was like, well,
Not really, right?
not
Yeah.
completely, but you will definitely get some additional education that may not be afforded to you
Right.
at, I would say, your kind of standard
Right,
private practice.
right.
There's some additional information and education you're going to get, and changes that you can make that are going to be sustaining changes that will last you a lifetime in regards to improving your health and wellness overall.
I want to
So,
come see you.
come see
I
me.
literally was just thinking, like,
I
I
was like,
probably should come see
Oh,
somebody.
yeah.
We'll have a consult session.
Please,
Come
yes.
and do all that fun stuff.
It's so important,
Yeah.
and nutrition, and you hear it more and more about how certain foods,
Yeah.
the response, like, I love sugar, but
Ooh,
sugar may
child.
not love me.
Yeah.
Sugar don't like nobody, okay? We'll talk about that later.
Right.
Sugar don't like nobody.
But there is such an emotional, also,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my
know,
goodness.
association with food and all of that it's hard not to. I mean, unless you're a practitioner or a therapist who's specialized in nutrition,
Yeah.
you don't always get that education.
And that's another big piece of it. Our staff there at the Hartwell Clinic, they're all licensed therapists. So they're LPCs or LCSWs. So they've got that foundation. But we really had to take an important turn in our clinical side to educate them on this stuff. Because we know we come out, we don't get that education in our grad work or in our internships. So it's been an eye-opening thing. And I think that's why I say it's my niche, because it's not just educating our clients, but it's also educating our field.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
That's the big one. It's educating the rest of the therapists.
To understand it is important to have all of that.
You've got to have it. You know, if you're working with a person who's dealing with mood disorders, depression, say, and their diet is lackluster at best, lots of processed foods, lots of what we call comfort foods, which make us, quote unquote, feel good in the moment, but are truly hurting us in the long run. They're almost keeping us. There's certain foods that would keep us in that depressive state.
Right.
Can you name some?
Oh, girl. Okay.
I feel like it's going to depress me when I hear
You
what
are.
they are.
You're not gonna
I wasn't even going to ask. Cause
I don't want to know.
this weekend I'm in all the
I love it. So if there's two things that I would say as far as mood disorders are concerned that you want to eliminate from your diet,
Sugar.
I'm gonna scoot over. I feel like you're gonna hurt me, Ebony. It's gluten.
Sure.
Get rid of your flour. Get rid of your breads. Get rid of your pastas. Get rid of your cakes. Get rid of flour, right? So flour is, and so it'll be gluten and it'll be sugar.
Now, when you say get rid of,
All right.
so you mean like you got to do a full breakup?
So here's what I would say. I recommend all people to try to do an 80-20.
Okay.
Right? So think about it.
80% gluten, 20%.
No, Eliza. Flip that
Flip that a little
thing.
bit.
Flip that thing, right? So if you think about it, do yourself 5 days of the week and 1.5, on the weekend.
Okay.
Kind of have your cheat days, right?
Okay.
But if you go hard in the paint on Saturday, you will feel like poo on Sunday and Monday.
Sure.
And you'll notice.
Yeah.
If you've done real clean Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
Monday through Saturday, or whatever, and you've got 1 or 2 days where you're like,
Yeah.
I'm in that thing,
Yeah.
you will feel it about 2 days later for sure.
Yeah.
You'll be sluggish. You won't be able to focus as much. There'll be a little bit of brain fog.
So don't come into work on Monday.
Man,
Right.
that call-in sick on Monday was so real.
Calling myself.
It was so real.
Self, I don't think we're making it
Yeah,
today.
You're not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah,
that is.
We have some questions already for you.
Already?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, Claire Huxtable says,
Hey, Claire.
Wait, Claire. Well, this is awesome. Do you have any holistic suggestions for people with chronic illnesses?
Chronic illnesses. So, depending upon the illness, right? There's a couple things I think about when I hear chronic illnesses that I would know to be in the minority communities. Claire, I don't know if you're minority or majority, but I'll just speak to them holistically, right? So when I hear chronic, I think about autoimmune diseases, right? Those are usually really bad, and that's absolutely where you want to reduce inflammation, right? Inflammation leads to the autoimmune disease. So you want to eliminate those sugars, eliminate those processed foods and refined foods, and insert for sure some anti-inflammatory foods, right? So turmeric, ginger, garlic. So things that make the food taste good.
Right.
Right? Think about it that way, right? But anything anti-inflammatory is going to be a huge help in reducing the inflammation, which in turn is going to help with the symptomology in regards to autoimmune diseases. So then I think about like diabetes or high blood pressure, which we know to be like long-term stuff, and that we get back to diet change, right? In reducing the sugars, reducing the carbs, of course, watching your sodium intake, of course, if it's high blood pressure, and then adding for sure a really good pre and probiotic. People don't understand how important gut health is, right? Gut health, there's lots of stuff out now that the gut is actually your second brain, right? And so if your gut health is poor, then your brain your function isn't great. 80% of your serotonin production is based off of your gut health.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Right? And so if you are constantly taking lots of medications to help with all the symptomology of all these chronic illnesses, then that medicine is messing up all the good flora and good bacteria in your gut. So you've got to replace that with the pre and probiotics. Fermented foods help with getting that back together. So those are things off the top of my head in thinking about chronic diseases.
That's really helpful, yeah.
So when we're talking about just overall mental health and people are struggling, whether it's a mood disorder or just life stress and things like that, what are some things that they can do to start boosting their mental health? Along with the food and not eating gluten and sugar.
Yes, removing those not so great things.
What else can we do?
That's going to be the therapist to help you grieve
the loss of
the cake.
Grieve a pie.
Yes.
Girl. Yeah. No, we had a whole breakup moment with me and my Starbucks obsession a couple years ago.
You see mine over there?
I get it. And even my eyes still do the, like when you're a kid and you go past McDonald's, you're like, ooh, like there's still moments where I go past Starbucks. I'm like, but so eliminating certain foods, of course, from our diets, adding that probiotic is a huge piece, right? We kind of talked about that. And then really ensuring that you look at your elimination and your digestion.
You talk about your poop.
I didn't know if I could say that word.
You can say poop.
Making sure you're pooping.
Okay.
People don't understand that if their digestion is poor, again, we go back to gut health, your gut health is poor. And so if you improve your digestion, you're automatically going to improve your mood. Yeah, they will fall hand in hand. Right?
Improve your digestion, improve your mood.
It's my next t-shirt.
Yeah, that is. I always think in t-shirts. I do. I love it. Improve your digestion. That's great. That's a healthcare shirt.
You're right.
A mug and
right as you step in.
Yeah.
Those are huge. And in addition, I would say like increase your water intake, which is going to improve your digestion. Ensure you're sleeping. People don't understand also if you improve your digestion, you're probably going to improve your sleep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you struggle with like insomnia and things like that, right.
Hands up.
Right.
I will talk later.
Yes. We need a whole
situation, right?
Let's do a group consultation.
We
can.
We could absolutely do this.
Off air. Got it.
Yeah. So water, making sure your sleep is good, and then ensure that you're doing some things of movement. Right?
Okay.
It doesn't have to be hardcore working out. It could be Tai Chi, it could be yoga, it could be gardening for all of it, walking, right? But the boost in mood that happens when we work out, we get all those good endorphins released. Everybody talks about the workout high and the runner's high. There's absolutely some things to that. So one, it seems crazy because we're in a low mood, and so we don't want to do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But to get out of it, you almost need to move.
Get that moving.
Yeah, and so it becomes a very interesting thing where you got to start to
Get the
move.
energy to flow.
You'll feel better. It'll kind of then help it, and it'll continue to go that way. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think about like whenever I've had clients that have struggled with like when they feel like, okay, I feel my mood kind of sinking.
Yeah.
And kind of having that contingency plan of like, okay, one, how do you identify when that's starting to happen?
Absolutely.
And then what can you immediately do?
Immediately do.
Start
Stretch. I would say if there's anything you can do, like in that moment you start to feel it, you know, you can't really go walk or whatever. Stretch.
Okay.
So it's so interesting because it feels so, it sounds so simple.
Yeah.
And yet it's not easy
Good.
to do,
Good,
right?
good.
Like, we know we should drink more water. We know we should move. We know we should, you know.
Reach for the water.
Wow, I was like, let me
Right? Why is it so hard?
Patterns of behavior, right? If it's not something that we kind of grew up doing or was really involved in our day-to-day lives, and to add to it to our day-to-day lives now is like another thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I gotta find a way to do this. I gotta do that. I tell people to increase their water, and they're like, but I'm gonna go to the bathroom all the time.
All
and I'm like,
the time.
but you, like,
That's a real concern when you do 90-minute sessions. I just want to say.
Yeah.
very big concern.
Very
But it's
difficult.
true. You figure it out. You need to,
And it's a very big concern. No, when I kind of went through this whole revamping of my own health, probably about 3 years ago, I was irritated because I felt like I was going to the bathroom after every session. I was peeing after every session.
Right.
Every
Right?
session.
It literally every session, and then that became my norm.
Right. Yeah.
And it became okay. Like, and it was also a good way for me to be like, and your session's done.
Oh, there you go.
Because my bladder said
It
so.
turns timer.
It is time for us to end.
There's another question here, Naisha. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Does the research show that the food and mood relationship affects men, women, and children alike?
Yes. So you are definitely going to have it across the board, full spectrum. And there are different things that are going to affect more certain genders,
Okay.
right? But it's going to be, sugar's going to be bad for everybody. Right, carbs decrease
Even
for
me?
everybody. Yeah, been lovely brown ladies like you, even you.
Oh man.
And especially for kiddos as well, we have this huge spike in seeing a lot of our youth and even adults now being diagnosed with ADHD and more autism diagnoses, and a lot of that is due to the foods we're eating and how our food is being given to us.
Right.
So not even how it's processed, how it's farmed. So even the things that we go and get and we think we're making really good selections at our grocery stores, our food is not as nutrient rich as it used to be 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So not our fault. We
Right.
got to do some education though to then get us back to where we can be.
So Alejandra wants to know what your thoughts are on the keto diet.
Keto.
Ooh, this is gonna be good.
Because it's low carb,
Low carb,
sugar,
low sugar, high protein.
high protein, lots of cheese and fat.
Lots of cheese and fat.
Yeah.
So
Is
here's
that bad?
I feel like for good health and all that little.
it's a little interesting.
Yeah.
It's a little interesting, but I will say this. So the one thing I will say, Alejandra,
Alejandra.
there's no one right diet for everyone.
Right.
It's so specific to your genetics, to your culture, to where you live, right? And so we've got to look at what may be specific for you, as opposed to saying everybody needs to do keto,
Right.
Everybody needs to do Atkins or whatever, right? But I will say this: high protein is not bad as long as it's clean protein. People do keto and then they think they can just eat all kind of
Bacon
crazy
all day.
meat. Yes.
Bacon,
My brother was
what's
like,
the
a whole pot
coffee?
of bacon. Yeah, the keto coffee or the
With
bullet.
butter,
Yeah,
the
the
bullet
bullet
coffee.
coffee. And don't get me
Butter
wrong,
coffee.
like there's some things that can be good with a detoxification with certain caffeines and coffees and things like that. But if that's not what your body needs, then you could be doing more harm than good, right?
Okay.
And we need certain fats, but we need good fats, and not all fat is good fat.
This is true. This is
Right? So
Ebony and I were having that conversation the other day.
yeah, not all fat is good fat. So keto's not horrible, but you can't eat bacon all day, and you're gonna need some other fruits and veggies in there as well. And with keto, sometimes you're eliminating some of those fruits and veggies.
Any other questions over there?
Not right now, but I love this interaction.
Thank you, though. For
Yeah,
sharing.
these are great questions.
So how are you using this holistic mental health to change the mental health game in minority communities?
So at the Hartwell Clinic, we have specifically made it a point to accept insurance.
Nice.
So we are allowing people to come in and utilize their benefits in that regard to get this information. And also our cash rate is, I would say, significantly less than the private practices around us in our area, and we're located in the Spring Branch Galleria area, so that maybe some of the middle class or lower class, I hate to say that, socioeconomic, right? Give us the right terminology there.
More accessibility.
Can absolutely access some of these services.
That's fantastic. Do you work with couples too?
So I think we've got one couple that I don't particularly work for.
Okay.
I love couples. Love y'all.
From far?
Yeah. I'm gonna save it for all of my lovely colleagues. But there's another member of our staff that I believe works as a couple right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I could see how, like, as a couple, that could be helpful.
Man.
Like,
Or even
come
the
on,
struggles
we're
that
doing
come up with when you're trying to make those changes in your
Right.
body and one person isn't on board and
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing this together.
yeah.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
What are some of your favorite resources?
So what initially sparked my interest in merging and kind of, I don't want to say creating, but maybe terming this holistic mental health thought process. Dr. Mark Hyman in the Broken Brain series.
Broken Brain.
The Broken Brain series.
It's a book series?
It is a podcast book.
Okay. Broken Brain series.
And there's another form of media that he has it on as well.
Okay.
It was eye-opening. It really took what I had began to learn about nutrition and medical stuff and physical health, and merged it with what I had begun to learn, or what I already knew about mental health. That was the beginning of it for me, the Broken Brain.
That's interesting, because you said that you kind of went through your own health changes.
Yeah.
What was, may I ask, what prompted that?
Sure. No, I've told this story numerous times to clients and people alike. So 3 years ago, Nicole, shout out to Nicole Wheatley again, BFF and business partner.
What Nicole?
I know, right? Like, keep good friends around.
Yeah.
She introduced me to Arbonne. I don't know if people have heard about Arbonne, some have, some haven't. But it is a holistic health and wellness company.
Okay.
Completely vegan, and all the good things. Kosher, non-GMO, no artificial, glyphosate. And so we were looking for something at the time because she was having some health challenges, and the health challenge that I specifically was going through then was a tumor on my thyroid.
Wow.
Had been kind of healthy, or at least thought I was healthy, right? But it was only one bagel a day at that time, before I knew better.
That feels reasonable.
That's what I thought too. My body was like,
your body said no,
child, no, that was not what it was. But discovering the tumor in my thyroid, it really, and then they wanted to remove it, and I was like, I kind of want to keep it. So how can I go about doing this? And so the research and the changing of diet, adding supplements, and doing all of that and learning about that myself really then brought it full circle in my health when I began to see that tumor shrink.
Okay.
Wow.
So I guess once you have that type of result, it's like I need to teach everybody about this.
I mean, it was like, and elimination improved, clarity of focus and concentration.
So you changed how you were eating.
I changed how I was eating and how I was moving. Now I went a little bit more drastic than most people. I went from kind of eating meat and eating carbs to like hardcore cutting some things out, and now I'm pescatarian.
Okay, because Naisha wanted to know what you eat. She said, "What's your diet consist of?"
Naisha, here's what I eat. Girl. I am plant-based probably 6 days out of the week, and then I'll have fish, wild caught fish, or not farm raised. Please no farm raised. Wild caught fish, maybe once a week, and that's for me just kind of really monitoring any of the hormones that sometimes get in meat. I want to eliminate that, again, thyroid focus. Right. Then I'm gluten free. I don't do sugars. I don't do coffee. I still enjoy a drink.
That was my question.
Just one?
Like a glass of wine?
So,
Does that to be like vodka straight?
Like organic
Look like a
wine.
lime or something.
so I'm not, that's my 20, right?
Okay.
That's my 20 of my diet. So
So
that's
20
not
drinks?
so sad. So not 20. It's really trying to touch you.
Tell me how
I'm just trying to see how I could be more like you. And all of this other stuff, I'm like, wow.
But I can have 20 drinks
So
though.
I can be sloshed on the weekend. But no, I do kind of real simple drinks. I don't do a lot of sugary stuff, right? So it is kind of a vodka tonic and lime, right? Or cranberry juice and something.
Yeah.
And I will have wine, right? That's okay. I'll do that as well. I usually don't do a lot of whites. I usually do more reds, right?
Okay, you're talking to me now. You're talking to me.
I'm getting
Feels more doable.
right?
Yes.
So that's
the 20%.
that's my 20%.
Right.
I don't really binge on the carbs and the sugars and the fried foods and stuff like that anymore. I kind of, if I tell myself I'm going to binge, I'm going to drink it.
There you go. Priorities.
I mean, so I'll have my salad and then I'll go and have my wine.
You pick what you want to splurge on.
Absolutely.
And I think it's that. I think so. Well, I won't speak for everybody. I'll speak for me. I'm hearing about these changes. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
And even some of them, it's interesting because I don't think a lot of them are that, like, don't eat a lot of fast food. Cool.
Right.
Like, don't eat I think it is when you say the flour and the sugar, because even though I try to monitor what I eat, not stopping at fast food places, I'm like, there's still some work to do. But that flour and that sugar,
it's big.
Yeah, that's hard.
It's big. It's big. And it's because it has become a part of what we call our comfort foods.
Right.
If we think about the foods that have made us happy or who
my
make my
mom's
bad
flour
day better.
tortillas,
Come on.
fresh, homemade,
Come on.
pasta comal. That's hard.
There's no substitute for that.
Mom put her love into it.
My good memories of my grandmother's fried chicken.
Yes.
Like,
We
in
need
the
some
Midwest.
EMDR around it to be able to let go.
Let go of that. Yeah.
It's happening.
So true.
But those comfort foods do bring us some joy, and I say that because there's an
emotional
connection and there's a chemical connection. If we have flour and sugar, what it does in our brain,
it's just beautiful.
I'm
just saying, it is. It may not be afterwards.
It's not
But in the
afterwards.
moment, you're like, oh.
And so it works, right? There is almost like a drug-like, opiate-like feeling that we have with sugar and with flour, because flour then turns into it's complex carbs, right? So we're talking about sugar in all forms. Right, it's on sugar in all forms.
Yeah.
So we have this opiate-like thing happening in our brains that gives us euphoria and makes us feel better. So it really does make us feel great.
It does until it doesn't.
Yeah.
Until you try to put on those jeans.
Until your mood is down.
A couple hours later,
And you're dragging and it's horrible. It
So
absolutely
what do you recommend for people that implement these changes?
Sure.
And then they are in that, like, how did you get through that? Yeah.
So the detox is real. So I understand that. So if you were truly trying to eliminate the sugars, and you were gonna have day 3 and day 4 of eliminating caffeine, sugars, flour, things like that.
Caffeine too?
Oh baby,
Caffeine too?
What? Yeah.
We're talking later. We're having a conversation right now.
But yeah. absolutely, yeah. You're gonna feel the withdrawal.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to need to prepare yourself with some, what I call food substitutions. If you don't have your substitutes, it's almost like dealing with anyone who's coming off of addictive, we're an addictive treatment, right? If we don't have a substitute for them in those hard times where they're triggered, they're going to go back to what they know that works.
Yeah.
And we're the same way. If I don't have something to substitute them French fries, I'm going to just go ahead and order the French fries. I got to have what I know to be good. So we do a lot of that conversation in our treatment, like what can I sub out so that you can try it, and it's not going, nothing tastes
It's not
like,
gonna be right.
it's not gonna be exactly like it, you know, let go of that. But if you can begin to put your mind around these changes being better for you, and then you begin to feel it, at least 1 to 2 weeks in, you're gonna feel it.
Okay, 1 to 2 weeks is not
hard.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Hard, but not horrible.
Okay.
You tell me like wait 3 months.
No.
No. It takes 90 days to feel anything.
No.
Forget about it.
1 to 2 weeks in, you'll begin to feel a difference. You begin to eliminate some of these things and then add in more nutrient dense stuff. So don't just eliminate and then keep eating boo-boo stuff like crap. You got to add in then some of the nutrient dense stuff.
Okay.
So we talk about substitutions.
So informative. So informative.
Hey,
I love this. I love this.
So tell us why therapy is dope.
I will say this from a very personal perspective. Therapy was dope in my life because I was going to be a physician.
Look at you.
Went to med school, left med school.
Wow.
And in that moment, that is where my appreciation and love for mental health came from a client perspective, right? And that led me to find that it wasn't physical health, but it was mental health that was my true calling. So it is so dope because 1, it saved my tuchus, and 2, then allowed me to find my purpose, I think.
I love it. And I'm sure you're bringing much of that medical, you're bringing that medical back into it.
I know, I was like, I told my client yesterday, I was like, so sorry, your therapist is a nerd.
Yeah.
Here's some additional information for you.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
So what makes you dope?
Ooh.
Or a dope therapist?
Ooh. Well, I would say that just like what I told my client the other day, right? I think because I have found this niche and it truly means a lot to me, and I want to kind of give that education to a lot of people, those who see me or see my clinicians at the Hartwell Clinic, you're going to get this wealth of knowledge. It's not just the CBT and the DBT, but it's also this other education in a very straight, no chaser kind of way. Like I'm a very straight, no chaser kind of person. Right?
I like that.
Very gentle. I don't bite.
Right.
But you're going to hear it.
But
I can work with that.
Okay.
I think you need that when you're trying to make these changes.
When you're talking about flour
Right.
and coffee.
And knowing that there's that emotional attachment, you can't be like, okay, no.
That's okay. You can have the extra donuts today.
We can't do that. Yeah, we can do that.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Hartwell
Let everybody know how to
Clinic in
follow.
Houston, Texas.
Yes.
How do they follow you? How do they stay in touch?
Oh gosh, yes, those are all good things. So, so the Hartwell Clinic on Facebook and Instagram, so you can follow us there. And then myself, if you Google me, you'll find me both at Fowler and Tidwell Counseling. That's where I actually see clients. And you'll find me also at the Hartwell Clinic, where I do the clinical supervision there. And then Fowler and Tidwell Counseling, we're also on Facebook. So.
Just put your info in here because people were asking. People had more questions about supplements and all that.
Oh,
y'all gotta go see her.
Yes,
Hartwell Clinic, Houston, Texas.
Call us.
Yes.
Call
Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you for
This
being
was so
here.
wonderful.
I'm excited. It was
You
fun.
probably got 2 new clients.
You definitely did. Definitely did.
Thank you
I love
guys
it.
for watching. Make sure you follow us across social media at Melanin and Mental Health, Melanin Health on Twitter, and melaninmentalhealth.com. Next Thursday,
we have a webinar, our latest in the Changing the Face of Therapy. It is Sex After the Betrayal. This is going to be good. Why is my brain turning off? It's because I had sugar this morning.
It's the sugar. It's the sugar.
She's crashing from the caffeine, y'all.
We have
What's happening?
Renelle.
She is a licensed psychotherapist, an ASEX certified sex therapist, and she is going to be talking about what happens after there's been betrayal in a relationship. A lot of times the erotic injury, right? It's difficult for partners to come back together. And so how do you begin to heal that? How do you begin to regain the intimacy in a relationship? So sign up for that.
Yes.
It's going to be so good. I can't wait. I'm going to be taking notes.
I feel like I need to clear my Thursday.
And that's a good point. Even if you sign up for it, if you're not able to join us live, you will then have access 24 hours later to the recording. So sign up, get your questions ready. It's going to be really good.
Yes.
And then early happy birthday to Miss Ebony, yes, who will be celebrating her birthday. Her and Danielle Bowman, who is also part of our team, have the same birthday. How wild is that?
Who does that?
How wild is that? Yeah. So you're going to be celebrating hard.
So hard. Don't follow me.
Not the
It won't be on social media.
Wish her a happy birthday.
I'll start the no sugar on Tuesday.
Yeah.
You'll get
When I get back.
small break.
I get a break this weekend.
Yeah.
So it's a birthday.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank y'all
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us. Bye.